More like LED than
They
fluorescent.
are LED, I know that.
But they just look much whiter in here.
Yeah. Maybe they put new LEDs.
They changed the lights? No? Just my imagination?
In here?
Barely, just barely.
See, does it seem brighter?
It does.
It does seem a little brighter.
It does.
Go. Okay.
Oh, it's time?
Oh, we're on.
I don't have the city clerk yet.
Are we live?
Is she here?
Yes, if you would, please tell her we're on.
She's late.
She's here, she just crossed the hall.
Oh, shoot. Anybody got an extra pen?
I forget what time
I'll give it back. Promise, I'll give it back at the end. I forgot to grab one. It's my bad habit of forgetting pens. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Minutes.
There's more coming. Just waiting for you.
Oh, okay.
Oh, boy.
All right, because,
Quick scan, I guess.
They're just coming out now.
September 23rd.
you should go live, yes. Yeah, go ahead and go live, get us going. We're waiting for the city clerk. It'll be just one more minute.
Well, your audio's up, so.
Okay. There she is. Okay.
Who's gonna still need one of these?
Okay. I call this meeting of the North Adams City Council to order for October 28th, 2025. This meeting can be viewed live on Northern Berkshire Community Television Station Channel 1303 and will be posted to their website as soon as possible. We will also be live streaming on YouTube at youtube.com/@NorthAdams. Just click on the live and on the 2025.10.28 City Council meeting. Will the clerk please take the roll?
Blackmer? Yes. Here. Bona?
Here.
Green?
Here.
Fitch?
Here.
Alaskowitz?
Here?
Shade?
Present.
Wilkinson?
Here.
Sapienza?
Here.
8 present.
We have a quorum. Please rise for a moment of silent remembrance. Tonight, as we remember Paula Scarbo Castellanos, she was a teacher with the North Adams Public Schools, and Jay Westcott was a custodian with North Adams Public Schools. And the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Motion to approve the approval of the September 23rd, 2025 City Council minutes.
So moved?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Counselor Shade?
I'd like to request that we postpone, considering we haven't had time to read them. We just got them. So I'd like time to actually read them before we approve them.
Okay.
I'll revoke my motion, or
Okay.
change my motion to move to postpone to, Councilor Shade, next meeting, did you
Yeah.
say? Yep. To our next
Motion to
council meeting.
postpone to next meeting. And do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing of visitors on the agenda. This is an opportunity for the public to speak to the council for 2 minutes regarding items listed on the agenda. Please raise your hand and I will call you up to one of the mics. And please state your name and address for the record. You have 2 minutes. Seeing none, I will proceed with the meeting. Council paper number 12,480, a communication from Councilor Fitch requesting time to discuss water safety and quality in the city of North Adams. And Councilor Fitch, would you like to speak on your communication, please?
Yeah, certainly. Just a reminder of what this is and where it came from. Several months ago, I reached out, or I put on the council floor, I suppose, a conversation about our water quality, and that was instigated by several residents reaching out to me concerned about the quality of our water, or just they didn't have enough information, or they weren't sure what challenges we face in the future. And so that's basically what I reached out to the administration through the council, to ask questions about. And that's why our commissioner, Timothy Lescarbo, is here tonight to share information with us. And so I already know some of what's to come because I've been through it with Tim and with the mayor. I just want to set the tone for this conversation because I know there's been a lot of concern about the quality of our water. I just want to set the tone by saying, Timothy Lescarbo is a longtime employee of City of North Adams. I think he does great work. He's also a community member, so he drinks our water and is overseen, he'll talk about this, but overseen by Mass DEP, who also ensures that we have at least some level of safety of our water and are doing the right things. So Timothy Lescarbo, thank you so much for coming here and doing this and sharing information with our public.
All right.
Counselor Sapienza, do you want me to dim the lights on your side so the public?
If you want to just take one row out, yeah, that would be good.
Tim, this back.
Good evening, councilors. Thank you for having me here. I put this little presentation together just to kind of go over our water system here in North Adams. As most of you know, I've been involved with this water system for 29 years over this winter. I started at the water plant with a private company called Metcalf and Eddy Services, for those who remember those. And I've been the commissioner here for the last 15 years. So our system begins with an overview of our water sources. We have 2 surface water sources, Mount Williams and the Notch Reservoir, and 1 groundwater source, the Grauach Well, all located within the Hoosick River Basin. Mount Williams is our primary water source. The elevation is at over 1,000 feet, so we're not influenced by anything except the rain. We're above all industry, and we have a very good water source. The size of the watershed, 1 3/4 square miles. Storage capacity is over 200 million. It's closer to 260. Equipped with aerators and to oxidize manganese. And the aerators, basically, they're just air blowers that blow water. For anybody who's walked it and you see the bubbles kind of run up the length of the reservoir, and what that does, it helps oxidize the manganese that's in the water and keeps it from reservoirs from turning over. Notch Reservoir, the elevation there is 1,246 feet, much higher. Much bigger watershed over there. We get majority of our water through that watershed. The storage capacity over is 90 million gallons. So that gravity feeds from the Notch through an aqueduct over to Mount Williams. And then when our levels get low, we have a low lift station over there that we can actually pump to Mount Williams or directly to the treatment plant. So in case of, say, an airplane crashed in Mount Williams, we could actually isolate that and pump directly from the Notch to the treatment plant, if it got contaminated. So there's multiple safety factors in the system. Grauach Well, for high demand or an emergency during droughts. We're actually putting that on Monday of next week for the first time since 2017. It was installed in 1957, rebuilt in 2007. I was part of that project. Depth of 190 feet, average yield 1.3 million gallons a day, uses chlorine for disinfection. We actually have to turn it on manually. There's no automatic system there. And I might add, the water there, because of the location of the aquifer, we have a very high clay content above it, so it's very protected. So we do our sampling all the time with it. regular sampling, and we get nothing in it. We get non-detects right across the board. The water treatment plant started in May 18, 1994. Average 2.2 MGD a day, max is 3.9. That's million gallons per day. Features coagulation, clarification, and filtration. So I also want to say that after the first of the year, we're in the process of doing some remodeling up there right now. So we're going to open it up for tours again. These are storage facilities, our tanks, Clearwell, Reservoir Road tank, Upper East Main tank. You know, the Clearwells hold a little under 500,000 gallons, the two tanks are 1 million gallon each, and then the upper tank is 75,000 gallons. And then we have our distribution system. It's categorized in 3 separate systems. We have our low service, which is gravity fed from the treatment plant, and it's our biggest user. That's about 2/3 of our daily production. Our high service, which is, these are all based on elevations. It's not pressures and things like that. Some people think it's a pressure difference. It's not. It's just different elevations of the city. And our ultra high service, which is fed from the 75,000 gallon tank up behind Spencer's mobile home park, basically feeds up there and West Shaft Road down to Jury High School. Our current and upcoming projects, Mount William and Notch Dam improvements. We got a $500,000 grant a few years ago for design to upgrade our dams. Our dams are rated in fair to poor condition. So right now we're at 90% design. We're actually in the permitting phase for the project to move forward. It's going to be about an $18 million project, and we're hoping that'll be paid for with grant money. There's grant money available for that out there. We're actually doing some treatment plant upgrades. We're rebuilding a couple of the large pumps, which are, they're 30 years old. The cost for the pumps are like $70,000 a piece. We have two of the big pumps. We're doing some fencing work and installing some security cameras up there. East Main Pump Station, that's another project that we're in the design phase of right now. Currently, we have a single pump up there, so we have no backup if that pump goes down. So we're going to put an addition on the pump station up there, put 2 brand new pumps in up there, and a generator and a security system. So if the power goes down, we still have pumping capability. Right now, we don't have a generator up there. A couple other planned infrastructure improvements. Big one that we're working on right now, we're getting quotes for proposals. Replaced a 140-year-old 24-inch cast iron water main along Mass Ave that goes over into Williamstown. That was designed to take water into the city from the old Broadbrook diversion that hasn't been online since 2000. It's actually abandoned now. So it's a little overkill, and it's 140 years old. We're going to replace it with a new 12-inch main, which will allow hydrants to tie directly to the 12-inch main and for better fire protection flow over there. The other current project we're working on is the lead and copper line inventory. I know people have gotten letters for it. They're trying to identify the line that goes into your homes. We don't have any lead lines here. The concern is with the old galvanized lines. There was some lead in the galvanized, but all our lead and copper numbers are way below any limits on that. This is mandated by the Mass DEP and US EPA. We got a $400,000 grant for that to take care of that, so that's not costing the city anything. And that's being done by an outside firm, Ty and Bond. So we're wrapping up that part of it right now. Our challenges here that we have. Aging infrastructure. I just brought up about 140-year-old water main. That's 1882 stamped right on the side of the pipe.
More than 140 years.
Well, I can't add. I'm sorry, Counselor. we've had an opening for 2 water operators since July, since, councilors, you remember you approved the 2 positions? Well, I've gotten 3 applications since July. I'm actually interviewing somebody tomorrow that has a license, which is a good thing, but I'm willing to train the right people. But we've gotten 3 applications, and I think 2 of them were just because they're on unemployment and needed to file an application somewhere. So it's been a challenge on the labor part of it. Funding is always a challenge, because these projects are getting more expensive every year. We all know about tariffs, we all know about the price of steel and iron. You know, the Mass Ave project, it's probably about a $5.5 million project over there. So we have to come up with that. There's a lot of SRF funding. We're looking into that. Grants. It's easier to get grants for parks than it is to replace a water or sewer main. But these are all things that are on the table that we are working on currently. North Adams has a strong multi-source system with continuous investment in our water quality, safety, compliance, infrastructure, and redundancy. I can't stress that enough. Our people are dedicated for our system. When it matters the most, they're there. We have a water break. These guys are out there 20 degrees below zero all night long working on this stuff to get people's water back to them. We've had a couple of our guys were sick and hurt this year. Well, the old guy got in the hole a few times this summer on a couple of water breaks. Of course, I got yelled at by the mayor about it, but we're there. We do it. We do it every day. And that's the end of it. It's been an honor for me to be part of this system for 30 years. This is my hometown. I'm the first house on the line to get a drink of water out of it. I drink a gallon of water every day out of my faucet. I don't have water filters. I don't have anything. So I'll go to anybody's house. If anybody has a question, I'll go and I'll drink a glass right out of your faucet. Right? So thank you for having me, and I'm open for some questions from the council.
Okay, Councilor Breen?
Hey, Tim, this is really good news, what you said. One question that I don't understand, and you were in right at the beginning, why was the filtration plant put in? How did that come about?
The water quality years ago, if people who remember it, they used to have brown laundry because of high manganese in the water. And the Safe Water Drinking Act required systems to be filtered.
Okay.
That was the big thing. But, so we treat, you know, not only for the bacteria and things like that, but we also treat for iron and manganese, corrosion control.
And
Used to just come right out of the water, down the pipe. They added chlorine to it, that was it.
Okay.
Councilor Fitch?
Yeah. Do you mind telling us a little bit more about Mass DEP and what oversight looks like?
So we're required to submit a monthly report to Mass DEP for our treatment plant. We do a cross-connection program that's reported to Mass DEP. They oversee it. All of our sampling that we do several times a month for bacteria, for chemical compounds and things like that, those are all overseen by Mass DEP. So if we can't do our own testing, we have to do an independent lab, and those results go directly to DEP. So there's no hiding things. They oversee it.
Okay, Councilor Shade?
Yeah, first, thank you for being here and presenting. I have a couple of questions. First, I want to start with the capacity of the reservoirs. Where are we at currently with our levels?
So our levels, we're down 10 feet at Mount Williams. We're not critical till we hit about 12. That's why we're starting the well next week. The notch is down a little lower because I'm pumping out of that right now into Mount Williams. But these things are 50 feet deep. So we still have quite a bit. We're coming into our rainy season. We're actually a little drier this year than we were last year. Last year I was figuring on turning the well on January 1st. But we got all that rain in the middle of December and the reservoir filled up overnight. So we got we got rain coming. Every time we get one of these storms that have been popping up the last month, it adds a couple of feet to the reservoir. They come up, the notch comes up very quick. It feels very good. It's a big watershed.
Okay. Thank you for that. And with that, we are currently still considered in a drought, correct?
The state has declared level 2 drought for our area, yep.
Okay, thank you.
But I also want to clarify that most of those numbers are based on groundwater systems. The state has a majority of groundwater systems over surface water systems. They can't, I know Adams is concerned because they have multiple wells, and, there's rates of drops in the wells, and they move because they're low. We see it. I know what we're doing here.
Very good. And then with that, we have, 200 million gallons from Mount Williams. How much do we go through in a typical day? What's our kind of
Typical
rate
day,
of usage?
it's, I think it's 2.2 is the average. It's lower, it can be higher. The summertime, it's higher. Right now, nobody's watering lawns and stuff, so, right now, we're not drawing as hard on it.
Okay. Thank you. I just think those things are important to know, because when people hear
Absolutely.
droughts and you think
Absolutely.
of the capacity and you think usage, it's, if you
Right.
do that math quick, we're going to run out of water in 30 days, but no, that's not how it works.
Right.
New water is always constantly flowing from the
Right.
river and
Yep.
Yeah,
Mount Williams, the tributary's running, and the notch right now, that one's running pretty good.
Excellent. Okay. And then finally, last question. When was the last time results were given from DEP, and what were those results as far as safety, cleanliness?
We had our sanitary survey 3 years ago. We're due to come up next year. They always find something.
Yeah.
They found a ladder on the tank over at the Reservoir Road tank, that the bracket was cracked, things like that. Nothing major. If it was major, we would have been written up and everybody would know it, because I'd have to post it.
And the water's tested regularly.
And our water is tested. It's tested several times during the month.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Counselor Fitch? Or go ahead, Counselor Blackmer. Yeah.
A couple of questions. One, do we still have any wood pipes, or have we gotten rid of them all?
I'm asked that all the time.
Well, because I know we had wood pipes,
So,
they were in front of my
The
house.
last wood pipe that was live that I know about, I'm sure they're still buried underground, the ones that aren't being used. But the last wooden one that I saw came out of Center Street about 25, 26 years ago. Had a water leak down there, and it was actually, there was a piece of the wooden water main was still hooked to the system.
So the one on my street wasn't hooked to the system?
I don't believe so, no. Those were all newer pipes.
Okay.
We can hook it back up.
No, that's fine. I remember being shown it going, wooden pipe seems like an oxymoron, so it was kind of funny. The testing, is there only still one company out here that does the testing, and we're kind of beholden to them?
Well, no, you're thinking back in the days of Berkshire Environmental days, that they were kind of the only ones that, they're long out of business.
Is it like Housatonic water or
We
something?
do Housatonic water right now. They're actually very good, but we do get quotes
Okay.
from, there's another one in Connecticut. It's just that it's easier for us to run an emergency sample down to Lee than it is to run down to Bridgeport, Connecticut.
And the other thing is, you were talking about the water and the well, and obviously people aren't watering their gardens or their lawns right now.
Right.
But we measure our water, like every rain that we get, we measure, because we have a vegetable garden. And we've had more rain in October, I think in one storm in October, than we had in July, August, and September
Correct.
combined.
That's
So
correct.
is there any kind of, we never did any real water rationing in the city?
Well, because we were never critical, what I consider critical.
Is it
The last month, while we have gotten rain, it has slowed it down. Like I said, 30 years experience, I've kind of know when I need to turn things on. The reservoir will start filling up. In a month, we'll be full, even what we got coming in now, if we don't get any rain. Because once the well picks up, it'll take care of majority of the the water going to the system.
Okay, I just follow up. So we wait till we're critical before we ration?
Well, what I call critical.
I mean-
Well, I know the mayor's mentioned at several meetings about it. We all can do our part to conserve water. You know, right now, we're not watering gardens and stuff, so it's not, you know, I don't think it's a issue right now.
Okay.
I'm not worried about it.
Okay. Those were my questions.
Okay, Counselor Fitch?
Yeah, a couple more follow-up questions. In our meeting last week, we were talking, or you were telling me about pollutants, and I thought that was a really interesting story that you were telling it, the way you were telling it, you know, air in the reservoir
Correct.
polluting those different pollutants coming into the groundwater
Right.
because of human interventions over the
Correct.
centuries, right? Do you mind just speaking a little bit to?
So what I was talking about was, and I mentioned that our reservoirs are at a very high elevation. We're above everything. There's no major roads that go by either one of them. It's all woods. It's Mount Greylock Reservation behind it. So it's not influenced by runoff or anything like that from roads or, you know, industry. The groundwater, you know, wells, they are. Our Greylock well, I'm really surprised of how there's nothing in it. Nothing bad in it, because you used to have an aluminum anodizing plant 300 feet from it. You know, it's in what they call a non-conforming zone. What makes it non-conforming is the roads, the ball fields, the school. It's already a non-conforming zone. It's much better now that there's no anodizing over there. I sleep a lot better at night, I can tell you that. But those are the things that, you know, groundwater is influenced more by pollutants than surface water, unless you were near industry or a river. You know, a lot of surface water systems in the state pump off of a river. You know, Lawrence, Mass down there. I was Tech Services down there. They come right off the river down there. They were testing for VOCs once a week. You know, things like that. So it depends on your system. Our system, you know, I always say it's hard to clean water, because it's very clean here.
Counselor Breen?
Tim, I have a question. Where the wells are, we're going to be taking a school down in the new school. And the wells I know are on upper, behind it, up higher.
Yep.
Does anything special have to happen while they're doing construction there?
No, they're far enough away from it.
Far enough away.
Yeah, they're far enough away from it. Yeah, well, we just had that conversation with DEP. They approved the plan for the school and everything over there already, so, yeah.
Counselor Bona?
Yeah, few things. When I first got on council, we used to hear about I&I all the time.
Yep. That's sewer.
Okay, but is that still an issue?
Always an issue, yes. We have an old sewer system.
Okay. So for that just means water is getting into our pipes. There's cracks or things.
Correct.
Okay. But how are the aqueducts?
Our aqueduct is fine.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
We have a 180-foot, 190-foot clay layer above it. So it's, you know, it's impermeable. Nothing gets through it.
It just seemed like I remember didn't we do the 20-year plan with the water? And I thought the aqueducts were something that was going to need repair at some time, no?
I don't recall that being part of the,
Right.
I think rebuilding the well was part of the new motor and everything like that.
With the Ashland Street project, are water pipes being replaced there?
No, not this time.
Okay. And,
Gates are, but not pipes.
okay. Do we share any of this water with Williamstown?
Yes.
Which one? All of it, or?
Well, yeah, we backfeed the old 24-inch line all the way back to Old Broadbrook in Pownell, Vermont.
So these,
there's-
Williamstown's getting all the same water from these, or do they have other
Well, about
sources?
60 houses are.
Okay.
Yeah.
And, are we gonna be flushing soon, or is that?
We're not going to flush this year.
Okay, I thought it seemed like it was
DEP's
standing right.
recommended that nobody flushes, but some towns are still doing it.
Okay.
We're going to spot flush the areas we know that really need it, but
So it's
If-
like,
if
we're
we
not gonna
fill
do it
up,
anymore, or just not as often?
What's that?
Not
Sorry.
as, we're not gonna do it anymore, or not as often?
No, not this year.
Okay.
We're not doing it this season.
Right. And then I'm sure you're aware, and this is probably more to the mayor, and I think this goes back to when we talk about actually our cyber protection, but I saw where recently Littleton, Mass had their water was hacked into, and they caught it, but it was actually like Chinese hacked their water system.
Well, our system is not connected to the outside. We're a standalone system.
Yeah.
We have no internet connection to the water plant. For that reason.
Yeah, smart.
We have the capability to do it, but there is nothing hooked to it to do it.
And I know you said that the reservoirs, like you say, it's rain. I think this past year, obviously, in probably past few years, we've had complaints of people swimming in the reservoir. How big of a concern is that, if at all?
Well, I can't say it's not a concern. It's always a concern because, one, it's very deep up there. It's more of a safety concern than, than somebody's dirty feet going in a reservoir. We treat for that. I mean, the treatment plant will take that out. We disinfect the water. People shouldn't be in it. Shouldn't be in it.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to have Counselor Fitch, and then I'll have you, Mayor.
Thank you, yeah. Just my last question was, when people get concerned or they want to learn more about the safety of our water, the clarity of our water, where can they go? What should they do?
They can call my office. I have no problem talking to anybody.
413-662-3157.
Oh, no, operators are waiting. Go ahead, Mayor.
If I may, while I have Commissioner Lescarbo here, often we get this swirl on Facebook when we have large fires. We hear the fire department call for more water. And I want people to understand that when we have a full fire, sometimes when the fire department says we need more water, they're asking for the tanker to send more water into the system. We, from an operations point of view, when we have a large-scale fire, Tim, Paul, Colin, they all get the call to say we have a large-scale fire, and they all deploy to different parts of the city, specifically Tim going to the plant or calling in an operator to go to the plant to watch the levels of the water. And if we do indeed run low, they are releasing more water into our system. So it's not just going up to the hydrant and tying in and pumping the water out. It's about managing the plant adequately when there's high demand. So often people say on our social media feeds that, oh my God, they don't have enough water. 9 times out of 10, that's not the issue. They're calling for more water through the system. And it is a full response, not only from the fire department and surrounding communities, but also our water department. And at times we've even had the Adams Water Department come in to help us. So I just want the community to understand that when they hear that, that doesn't necessarily mean there's a problem. Because as Councilor Shade asked, we certainly have capacity. But as we're navigating from now until we get some heavy rain, that's one thing we talk about, I think, twice a day now. Well, what if we have a big fire? How much can we release? And Tim always says we have plenty, we have enough, we have this, we have that. So I just want the public to understand that sometimes when they hear that on the scanner, it's not always a negative, it's a demand for more water flow. Thank you.
Thank you. Counselor Shade?
Yeah, not so much a question, but I just want to say thank you for being here, presenting this information, and thank you to everyone at your department for all of the work that they put in. As you said, they're out there in the middle of the night fixing lines in the middle of snowstorms. I've seen them. They work very hard, so thank you to your department and all the people working there. We wouldn't be able to run our city without them, so.
Thank you. My employees love hearing that, too. They do, because they don't hear it enough. Right now, I have an operator at the treatment plant dealing with a problem. That's where I'm headed as soon as I'm done here, so.
One quick question. What do we have for backup power at the filtration station? Do we have generators up there?
The treatment plant has a very large generator up there.
Okay, all right.
It's actually designed for 2 times the size of what we need.
Good.
So there's a lot of floor planning on you know, that, there's actually room up there if we wanted to add like 2 more filters and another clarifier, if our capacity.
You have plenty of capacity
Yes,
up there.
yeah.
Very good. Yes, and again, I want to commend you and your department for keeping our water flowing. I know I've seen you guys out in freezing weather and all kinds of weather conditions, knee-deep in water, trying to get our water running and flowing again, and I thank you very much for that. And I believe we've had better quality water over the last several years than we've had when I was a child in this area. But yeah, the water's very good, and I'm not afraid to take a drink whenever I need to. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Anybody else? Okay, thank you, Mr.
All right,
Scarborough.
thank
I
you.
appreciate your time.
I gotta go to work.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Thanks, Tim.
Thank you.
I'll call you later.
Okay, council paper number 12,536, communication number 136 from Mayor Maxey, announcing an appointment. Mayor, would you like to, I'm going to file the communication, and would you like to speak on your communication, please?
Great. It's my pleasure to announce that we will be appointing Leah Hart, who is with us today. Leah, you want to give the crowd a wave? To the Conservation Committee for a term expiring August 1st, 2028. And I thank Ms. Hart for her willingness to serve and wanting to join the team. So thank you.
Thank you. Council paper number 12,537, communication number 137 from Mayor Maxey requesting a public hearing for the fiscal year 2026 tax classification to be held on Wednesday, November 12th, 2025 at 7 p.m. I'm going to file this communication without objection. Mayor, would you like to speak on that, please?
Pretty much self-explanatory. We will be in on, is it Wednesday? Wednesday, November 12th, with our new assessor, Sierra Dowling, to do the tax presentation as we do every year. And we look forward to speaking to the counselors as well as the community about that process.
Thank you. At this time, I am going to set a public hearing for the fiscal year 2026 tax classification for Wednesday, November 12th, 2025 at 7 p.m. And that is our next regular council meeting. It's being held on a Wednesday night because Tuesday is Veterans Day. Council paper number 12,538, a communication from Councilor Blackmer requesting to allow Virginia Real to present the planning board's work on and recommendations on the capital outlay plan. I'm going to file the communication without objection. I'm going to turn it over to Councilor Blackmer.
Thank you. As you saw in the communication, Planner Real will be speaking to this issue, but I also, this is in response to the ordinances that we passed/changed back in June. We started in May, passed in June, to change, mostly to change the deadline so that it wasn't June 30th with the budget, but extended 6 months, which makes it December 30th, 31st, whatever. And also involve the planning board and other people in, and more of a reiteration of the folks that would be involved in planning it. So after Ms. Real presents it, my recommendation is going to be that we refer this to the Finance Committee to work on through the rest of the year. Also keeping in mind that, and I think we even said it during our discussions back in May and June, that we frequently have a hard time getting a quorum for the second meeting in December. So it would be good if we could approve the plan. Before that, I know the mayor has some conversations that she'll want to have with the Finance Committee, and I think part of it is because we changed it kind of mid-process. There might be some confusion as to what the process looks like that kind of first time. And then from then on, it'll be easy because it'll just be set. So, Ms. Real, go ahead.
Okay, thank you.
So I will start with all of my thanks. First, I know Brian Mixick is not here, but he is, as you know, the chair of the planning board and has provided leadership and input to this process all along the way. Then to the planning board members who took on this additional responsibility and, you know, invested the time in working on this, on the capital budget and, you know, and reviewing materials and providing input. And then the planning board created an ad hoc committee. And I am a member of that committee, and Jesse, all right.
Egan Porter.
I'm going to get it, Porter, Egan Porter, and Rye Howard were the members of that committee. So we were a team, we worked together, and I want to emphasize that, and also I want to thank Lisa for being the liaison to the council because she was providing updates to you as this process moved forward. Then I want to thank William Shanahan, who is not here, who is staff to the planning board and went always above and beyond to get us information to, you know, take documents that were unreadable and create versions that we could look at. And then thank the council for giving us the time tonight. All right. I want to just our little footnote here, there are at least 3 different names: capital improvement plan and capital budget and capital outlay program in different places. And so to me, all those terms are synonymous. But you may, I know the ordinance has the capital outlay program language in it. So that's, I think, where that originated from. We don't need to go over the slide. I put it in here for your reference because usually for this type of conversation, there is the question of what is the legal basis here, what is the ordinance? And so if we get into any conversation on this, we will have it there immediately. And the key item here is that the planning board has the responsibility to investigate, report, and recommend prior to submission of the capital budget. All right. Lisa alluded to this, and I wanted to make clear that this has been a year of change in how the capital plan has been, improvement plan has been handled. And there were 2 changes. The first was the extension of the time for submission of the plan. And the second was actually implementing an ordinance that had not been implemented to fold the planning board into this process. So I think what we're bringing forward in some cases is just lessons learned of trying to get both of those pieces working together so that the planning board is able to engage, have the time to deliberate, and then bring forth useful recommendations to the council. So, what was the scope of what we did? We both looked at the capital outlay program plan as submitted by the mayor to the council on June 10th. And we also brought in the 2030 plan, the section on infrastructure. So both of those documents were reference points for us and reviewed by us in this process. We started the process of distributing these materials, developing questions on these materials, which were shared with the mayor, and then we prepared recommendations that we're going to present to you tonight. So the planning board actually began in August on this journey, and the plan that was followed, the steps and the sequence were unanimously approved by the planning board at their August meeting. So what are the limitations of our review? So the planning board looked at the capital improvement plan, and it's marked draft, and I think there were things in there that were possibly not accurate or would be shifting around in the version that may come to you. So we didn't feel we had a complete and accurate plan to review. And we also had, because again, partly this is the first iteration of this, there were many questions and a real need to educate the planning board about the capital improvement plan and how it's developed and all of those things. And the mayor was unable to attend any of the planning board meetings to respond to those questions. So our recommendations are about strengthening the process and about high-priority programs and practices that were identified in the 2030 plan that should be adopted by the city. And the purpose, we focused on ones that we thought would enable the city to efficiently and effectively manage and maintain its capital assets, so that we may not be ahead of the game tomorrow, but we can start to move to be ahead of the game in terms of keeping up with the maintenance and not getting behind the curve. So with respect to strengthening processes, we think that it would be good to review the timeline for the submission of the capital improvement plan budget to allow sufficient time for review by the planning board and the city council, so that it does not become a rushed process, and so that there's time for going back and forth with questions or thinking about issues and things like that. And so, you know, it sounded like, oh, we've got a 6-month extension, and now we've put in the planning board into that timeline. And also, the purpose of the extension was to give the council more time to focus on this. And to achieve those outcomes, really, I think the planning board would have to start in August, because partly driven by the current schedule of planning board, that the planning board meeting is the day before the council meeting, you know, and so therefore, we have to back up a month in order to get information in a timely manner. If those things shifted, I think another thing that could shift over time, but I wouldn't do it right away, is as the planning board becomes more knowledgeable about the capital improvement plan process and contents and things like that, they may not need as much time on the front end. But I wouldn't count on that for next year, because I think that's still going to be a learning curve to get through this. And then, honestly, we just like, what is everybody's role here, right? So does the city council formally, you know, the ordinances that we looked at don't really explain what the city council's role is. And so should the city council approve or endorse the capital improvement plan? You know, that's kind of an open question. I will say we looked at other jurisdictions, and at least the ones we looked at, there was a role for the city council of either approving or endorsing. And so I think that's something that might be worth considering, you know, and maybe going back to some of the ordinances that are out there to clarify that. And then I think we need to just be clear about how we're all going to work together. And, you know, it's really critical to both the planning board and the council to have the support of the mayor and the city staff in this process. They are the experts. They're the ones that have worked on it for a long time. And I think that's really something that, you know, it's new, and we need to work that through. And then there was not anything in the materials we read that said what were the thresholds for designating capital assets and capital outlays, and that's just something that should be documented. I mean, it's fundamental. Okay, what is the threshold for something that is a capital expense? And so that's a minor point, but it's major in terms of understanding things. So, our recommendations based on the 2030 plan, which is the part where I think we all got a little more excited because we had something in hand to work with. And we really feel that the city's systematic maintenance of capital assets, and this may involve some investment in software or technology, so that there is a defined maintenance plan for each asset, that there is a maintenance schedule, and there's tracking of the maintenance. And this is, you know, we have a lot of capital assets, you know, that we have to monitor, but this would then create the foundation for tracking what's going on with maintenance, and also making it transparent. And then linked to that is having some geographic information system technology to link to the capital assets. So where is every fire hydrant? Or when did we last do that road? Or where was that wooden pipe? You know, what did we do about that? You know, all of those things, so that we have a way of knowing where are all the potholes, and you know, is there like a certain area where there's more potholes or whatever, that we can better deploy our resources, better plan, and better understand the needs in the capital space. And then one of the things that is in the capital improvement plan is that the capital investment right now is at 1.9%, according to what's there. And the recommended level for investment in capital is 3 to 7% of the net budget. So we should be trying to get ourselves to the point that we're more in the ballpark of what is the recommended level. And then finally, we should increase transparency. So the criteria that are applied in what's in the ranking or prioritizing capital projects should be clear, and the projects, what were the scores, so to speak, on the projects. We should incorporate grant funding into this. It's even more important in the capital space than even in the operating space, because the vast majority of capital expenditures are grant funded. And I know there's always uncertainty, but there are some of those expenditures that we have the money in hand and we need to see over the 6-year time frame of the capital plan. And then to provide tools to make information on capital assets available to the public. And that goes back to a more automated approach to GIS and to the maintenance plan. So people could say, I submitted a pothole request. Excuse me. Where is it? And, oh, they plan to do it next week. Oh, that's good news, and that will reduce the burden of probably a lot of interactions that result from people saying, what's going on with my pothole, and then the staff can focus on fixing the pothole. And then, as part of the capital improvement plan and budget process, that there would be annually a public hearing on the plan in which the public can be informed of what's in the plan, provide feedback on it, and that should be before, significant deliberations early on. So that is, I think, my last slide. Jesse, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Thank you.
You gotta go to the mic.
Yeah.
I'm sure what more can be added to that. Great job. Thorough, as always. I think I just want to start by saying and reiterating that this is can everyone hear me all right? The first year that we've had the city or the planning board attempt to assist in this process. And I hope it's the first of many. I think it's an important tool for the city to have more eyes on this huge undertaking. No matter how capable any administration, just working inside of a black box you need outside input. You need voices from around the community. As Virginia spoke about the actual work of trying to review the capital improvement plan, on this first year was difficult because we had limited access to information, which begs the question, if we have limited access to information, what access to information does the public have? It's a personal concern of mine. But I think it's more important just to think about, take this year as the experience that will inform how we operate in the years to come. One thing that I found was an enormous boon was just having Councilor Blackmere in the planning board. So we had direct access to, some idea of what the city council was thinking. It was a tremendous luxury, one that's not necessarily guaranteed for future planning boards. It's, it's quite possible that future planning boards won't have city councilors just happening to be present. Making sure, I would wish that kind of liaison present for all future planning boards, and additionally, I think we need a similar liaison for with the administration. I know you're a very, very busy woman. I can only imagine. And asking you to show up to these meetings, that's a lot. I get it. Next time we go into this process, I think ahead of time, if we can kind of nail down what, like, who's going to be the go-between, who's going to be the person who's in your meetings that then can show up at our meetings. That way we can all be on the same page. Yeah, and to, I think that's it. I think that's all I have to add.
One thing I forgot to say, just to add, is that these recommendations that came forward were approved unanimously by the planning board. So, all right.
Thank you. Councilor Blackmer?
Okay, so I want to clarify, I think, thank you for the work that you all did. Also, I didn't necessarily represent the city council. I represented my years of experience on the council and in municipal government more than any person or group of people in the council. I just want to clarify that it was more my personal opinion based on my years of experience. So it was somewhat informed, but I want to thank you for what you did. I do think that because this is new, I think there's been some questions on where it went, where the roles, what's going to happen, and I think we can get that clarified through the Finance Committee with the mayor going forward. I also want to say that one of the issues with the capital plan is that we've got a plan, we need to do this, we need to do that, we have this high priority here, there's this maybe lower priority here, but a grant comes up that'll fund the lower priority. We're not going to turn that down and not do that because it's not the higher priority, because the higher priority may not qualify. In one of the examples, I know I don't know how many experts out there think that we can get a grant to build a public safety building. I've heard it from a lot of people, and I've worked in municipal government. I followed this. There's a lot of communities out there who are looking to rebuild their public safety buildings, their town halls, things like that, and there are not grants out there. So that's, I know, a priority for a lot of people in the community, and they're going to say, well, why did you not do that? Well, we did this because we had money for it. And I think that's what happens with our limited resources. We talk about, yes, we would love to have the 3 to 7% of our budget be for capital, and that would be great, but we also have an aging population who are having a hard time maintaining their homes and staying in their homes with their tax rate. So it's a balancing act that we've played every year as long as I've lived in this city. So I like to have a plan, because I also know that if I've got a plan and something is available or I need to prioritize, I can look at the plan, and if I get off track, I still have something to get back to. And I think that my motion would be to refer this to the Finance Committee and obviously have further conversations with the administration.
Okay, we have a motion to refer this to Finance.
Second?
We have a second.
Okay.
Any further discussion? Councilor Shade?
Yes, first, thank you for this presentation. Thank you to the planning board for all the work that was put into this. This is very exciting. This is the first, I've been on the council for 4 years now, and this is the first time we've had a real presentation about process and what should go into the capital improvement plan, how we should go about talking about these issues, how we should go about making recommendations and looking at ways to improve, rather than just saying, look at the 2030 plan. So it's exciting to see this come forward. I've been talking about money for infrastructure and maintenance of projects since before I got on the council. And I'm excited that not only have we put money in, but now we're talking about a process to actually streamline that and make it more efficient, make our taxpayer dollars go to better use to keep up with our capital and our buildings, which to me is a beautiful, beautiful thing. So I'm very excited to see this. I'd love to see more on recommendations of actual projects going forward in the future. I mean, obviously, you're still learning your processes, but no recommendations on, like, this one project here is super critical and should be worked on immediately, funding should be. Those kind of recommendations, I think, could be useful as well as these kind of recommendations. So I'd love to see more of that in the future. But I think that'll also come from the discussions between the Finance Committee and the administration. And, you know, as we review those processes, we can see where we're at and what's in those critical states. So I think that'll come, but I think that's kind of, I didn't see any of that in here, and I'd like to see more of that from them.
The reason it wasn't in there is because we didn't feel that, A, we had the most accurate information, and B, we didn't have access to resources in the administration to answer questions we had. And that's why it's not in there. Just to Councilmember Blackmer's comment, I just want to say nothing that we are recommending is intended to imply that we want to increase taxes. It's not, that was never, ever in our conversations, and we would hope, you know, that that wouldn't, you know, that is not where we were headed with that.
Absolutely. But with all of that, I want to say this is an excellent start compared to what we've had and what information was available at the time. I think next year the process can get more into the details and more into those things. And I think that the most important and the best part about this is it adds extra input from the public, because all of those meetings are public. All of those meetings are open to the public. So it allows lots of time and discussion for members of the public to come in, ask questions, learn more about the process, and learn about these projects that are going on, learn about the 2030 plan, learn about the infrastructure and investment that we're making in our city. So that, to me, is the most valuable part, is the ability for more input from the public. And I think this is a great avenue to provide that. So again, thank you all so much for this. I look forward to discussing this at the next Finance Committee meeting.
I think I could speak for the planning board that we would be happy to engage with the Finance Committee and you know, come to those meetings to, you know, support the discussion, if that would be helpful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Fitch.
Yeah, sure. I just wanted to say that I match Councilor Shade's enthusiasm for this, and especially the recommendations that are given here. That's very exciting to see. The plan, the schedule, the tracking, I do also see that we need that. And also match Councilor Shade's adoration for you, Virginia, for you, Jesse, and for Rye, wherever Rye Howard is right now. Thank you so much for doing this work and for getting this process started, because I think this is a huge improvement, and I'm really excited to work on this with you. The last question that I had is, the recommended level of 3 to 7% of net budget, did that come from the 2030 plan? Was that
No,
recommended
that
in there?
came from the draft capital improvement
Okay,
plan.
yep, got it. Thank you.
Hey, Councilor Lesko.
Just for clarification, there was a motion on the floor, but was there a return date?
I didn't have a return date. I was just going to say the second meeting in November. Does that work? That'll give the Finance Committee time to have a couple of meetings, maybe.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Oh, yeah, amend my motion.
Okay. All right, so we're going to amend the motion to,
Include a date certain
yeah,
of the
so
25th.
second meeting in November, and we had a second. All those in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Go ahead, Councilor
Back into discussion?
Yes, we can go back to discussion, yes.
So initially, when I brought forward pulling the date of the capital outlay plan submission away from the budget was for this, to allow more time and more focus on this, so we weren't overlapping so much with the budget. So this is exciting to see. Obviously, being the first time doing this, having the planning board involved, possibly council involved, you know, it's, we came up with a deadline that we made up, and we'll see how it works. I mean, we have the ability, we could always change that if we feel it needs to be extended longer. You know, we've set this deadline. Maybe it got a late start. I'm thinking because it's the first year, it's probably going to be one of the longest, because once the template's sort of set up there, the future years won't be much. But, you know, there's something that, you know, we have a date there that it's supposed to be in by, but, you know, if we need some flexibility, I'm sure we can give it to ourselves.
Thank you. I just want to clarify something for Mr. Egan Poirier. The council rules state that we do have to assign a liaison to the planning board, so that'll be something that's in place unless the council rules are changed. And I don't see that in the near future being taken out. So there will be, even if it isn't Councilor Blackmer, it may be somebody else that will be a liaison from the council to the planning board. You're welcome. Any further comments? Okay. All right, we have a motion and a second on the amended motion. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Moving forward. Council paper number 12,539, a communication from Councilor Fitch requesting 10 minutes from Daniel Isaac. Is that pronounced correctly?
Yes.
Thank you. To provide a presentation on the effects of lead paint on our housing stock and public health, as well as provide specific policy recommendations and resources available for individuals. I'm going to file the communication without objection. Councilor Fitch, would you like to speak on this, please?
Yes, a very brief introduction from me about Daniel. Daniel Isaac is a shining example of what MCLA students, Daniel's a current MCLA student, can offer our community. Recommendations for policy changes, recommendations for what the public can do to address lead paint issues in their homes and in our community in general. So I'm so thankful that Virginia Real in particular Nacho in general, North Adams, oh my gosh, Housing Coalition, I forgot it, thank you, AKA Nacho. But Virginia Real oversaw Daniel in his pursuit of creating this report here. And we had spoken about having this, I think it was before the summer, but the schedule got mixed up, so we are having it now, and I'm glad that we're having it now. So, Daniel, thank you for coming, and is somebody introducing Daniel?
Yep.
Awesome, yeah. And Daniel's professor is here, which is even more exciting.
Miss Mike is not here.
Yep.
Either one.
All right, sure.
That would work, yep.
You can pull it out.
All right, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Good evening, council members, Mayor Maxey, members of the public. My name is Dave Caperi. I'm a professor of political science at MCLA and chair of the History and Political Science Department. So I just want to put in a plug for Daniel here, but also a plug for increasing cooperation between the college and the town. I think there's a lot of room to grow that in ways that are productive. But Daniel shares a vision that I have, which is of deepening that cooperation. And not only has he done an internship where he did a lot of useful work for Nacho, that you're going to hear it from now, but he's been polling students informally about ways to increase their presence on Main Street, increase town events on campus. And so I'd say that there are a lot of people on campus that are very interested in working more closely with the town in various ways. I know William Shanahan is another product of our department who works with you, Mayor Maxey, and we've been talking about a way to get more college interns with the town. But a plug for Daniel, he's done some excellent work. He's very motivated, put a lot of attention to this project. He comes from New Bedford and sees a lot of similarities between the two communities in both like a proud history, a great community, and room to grow. So I'm hoping you'll learn a lot from his presentation.
Thank you, Professor, and good evening. Thank you, counselors. Thank you, everyone who's here with us tonight.
Just lift that mic up.
Yeah, good tall. There we go. Can everybody hear me? Good.
The mic is for those at home, actually.
Oh. Well. So,
I'm going to ask you to speak up just a little bit so we can hear you in the room.
This good?
That's good.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
So my presentation today is based on the report that I and others worked on all the beginning of this year for Nacho, for North Adams Community Housing Organization. We completed it in May. It's titled Lead Paint in North Adams, an Assessment of Current Challenges. And so lead paint was once very common in homes and buildings. Obviously, it was banned in 1978 because of the severe health effects, especially for children. Excuse me. Despite that ban, millions of homes across the U.S. still contain lead hazards, especially in older communities like much of New England. Lead exposure can cause irreversible developmental and neurological damage even at very low levels. Massachusetts is particularly affected. About 2/3 of the state's homes were built before 1978. And in this presentation, I'll be focusing on how this issue affects North Adams, what the data shows, and what we can do about it. First, I'm going to talk about the Massachusetts lead law. Massachusetts was actually a leader in addressing this issue. The Massachusetts lead law, passed in 1971, was one of the first in the nation that sought to protect children from lead poisoning. It requires that any home built before 1978, when it was banned, and occupied by a child under 6 years of age, must be determined lead safe. That includes testing, disclosing known hazards, and fixing them, if found, remediating them. Landlords and property owners who don't comply can face fines and legal actions. Despite being in effect for over 50 years, only about 10% of pre-1978 homes in Massachusetts have been fully inspected and confirmed lead safe. That means roughly 1.8 million homes across the state are potentially hazardous, specifically to children. So Massachusetts Department of Health has implemented what's called the risk score. It combines 3 factors in this very big, complicated formula that I struggle to wrap my head around. But one is the rate within a given community of children with high blood lead levels, the percentage of families living below the poverty line, and the percentage of older pre-1978 housing within that community. And together, this helps identify communities where children are most at risk. Statewide screening rates dropped during COVID from 72% in 2019 down to 62% in 2020, but they have since rebounded to 73% in 2023. That is the most recent data and what much of our report was built off of. Unfortunately, the state's top list of high-risk communities hasn't changed much. My hometown of New Bedford is in there, North Adams is in there. And North Adams is actually, in the 2013 to 2017 data, North Adams had a risk score of 18.3 and an incidence rate of 8.8 cases per 1,000 children. And from 2017 to 2024, it's measured in periods of 5 years, 4 years rather. That score dropped only slightly to 18.1 with an incidence rate of 6.8 per 1,000 children. This is still well above the state average of 2.9. So while there's been some progress, North Adams remains among the highest risk areas in Massachusetts. It's also part of a rural cluster. These are small communities, mostly in western Massachusetts, that are collectively at high risk even if their populations are small, so the state groups them together in these rural clusters. So there have been several state programs as well as federal programs established. The Division of Healthy Homes and Childhood Lead Poisoning Prevention, whose data made our report and our research possible, handle testing, education, and remediation. The lead paint tax removal credit, state tax removal credit, offers up to $3,000 for homeowners who remove or cover lead paint. The Get the Lead Out program, run by the state, provides 0 interest loans up to $45,000 for property owners. And the federal Office of Housing and Urban Development and the EPA grants also support cleanup efforts. So what about North Adams, right? Looking at the most recent data from 2023, 85% of homes in North Adams were built before 1978. Only about 65% of children under 6 are screened for lead, far below the state average of 73%. Of those who test positive with a quick capillary test, 36% never receive follow-up venous tests, which are the more accurate form of testing. 13% of children in North Adams aren't diagnosed until age 3, often because they're newly exposed when they start moving around or playing outside or whatever. All of this means that the true rate of lead exposure is almost always likely even higher than what's officially reported by the state. And of course, the city has not yet developed its own local remediation or outreach program specific to housing. So what about the path forward? As part of the report we put together 5 general recommendations for North Adams with regard to lead moving forward. Number one is increase lead screening and follow-up testing. Make sure every child gets tested and retested if necessary, and treat this like a serious public health issue, because it is one. Expanding access to remediation funding is number two. Promoting programs like the Get the Lead Out and the state tax credits locally. Build a system that helps families and landlords navigate the paperwork. And number three, boosting community education. Hold informational sessions, distribute pamphlets in community spaces like schools, clinics, churches, etc. Teach safe cleaning and renovation practices. A large portion of lead hazards are caused by DIY renovations, which expose previously encapsulated lead paint or dust. Number four, strengthen collaboration. Get city officials, nonprofits, healthcare providers working together, and share data and coordinate outreach with regard to this issue. And number five, enforce compliance, but fairly. Ensure that landlords follow the law. Provide resources first and only penalize if they refuse to act. Because remember, there's no safe level of lead exposure, and safety must always come before any form of financial gain. So in conclusion, North Adams has made significant progress, but there's still a long way to go. Lead poisoning is entirely preventable, but it requires awareness, testing, and support. And this issue isn't just about public health. I believe it's about equity and it's about justice. And every child deserves a safe home and a healthy start in life. With collaboration and commitment, North Adams can become a model for rural lead prevention. And I've included in full the final paragraph of our report. By addressing these challenges head-on and implementing targeted, no-nonsense interventions, North Adams can make meaningful progress in reducing the risks of lead exposure and ensuring the health and safety of its children. With the right combination of community support, financial resources, and legal enforcement if necessary, the city can create a safer and more equitable environment for all residents. Thank you. And I'm open to questions if anybody.
Thank you. Go ahead and turn the lights back on, please. Thank you. Let's see, Councilor Shade?
Yes, first, thank you so much for bringing this forward, and this is great information. Three questions come to mind for me based on the information that you presented. So the first question I have when we look at this information, I work in a lab, I see a lot of lead testing going on. When looking at why people don't get follow-ups for lead testing, is this an issue that insurance isn't covering it? Are there added costs? Is there any research on that? Does the state provide free lead testing for children to make sure that children can get properly diagnosed for lead poisoning? Do you have any information on that?
The state, through CLIP, the lead poisoning, the Childhood Lead Poisoning Prevention Program, they do provide free testing through CLIP, and they also offer remediation services and information and whatnot. And really, I think it's a matter of being unaware. Most people aren't educated on this issue, and so you get a capillary test. Oftentimes they come up positive for lead, and there's no follow-up. But the more accurate venous tests are the most important thing.
Absolutely. So that's great. That knowledge is important. So parents know, yeah, your child has to get these extra tests, but they're not going to cost extra money. With the current environment and cost of insurance about to rise significantly, that's something really important to know. If we want people to get tested, we need to provide those resources for them to be able to do that. The second question I have is, I love that you included recommendations. Is there a recommendation for an ordinance or some kind of legislative piece for the city to implement to help with this?
Well, I would say probably the biggest thing is boosting education in the community, and I don't know what that would entail in terms of an ordinance for the council. But to like I said, holding informational sessions and distributing a simple pamphlet, hand them out in schools, hand them out at church, this, little things can go a very long way. Because it's not something people think about. It's 2025. Why are we worrying about lead paint? But it is, we are at the high, almost, we were in, I believe, 2021, North Adams was number 1, I think. We've fallen down to, I think, number 4 or 5 in 2023. So that's a couple years now. But it's the education is the biggest part of it.
Absolutely. And then my final question is, sorry, I just want to make sure I'm wording this correctly. With the programs that you listed that provide resources and funding, how easy is it to get that funding? How quickly does that move? Is there any information on that? Like, for example, it says submit a letter to the state. How long does it take to submit a letter to the state to then get your tax refund? What do those processes kind of look like for people?
I'm not sure on the exact turnaround time. I presume it varies on the state level, especially for the tax credit for lead remediation. But for the Get the Lead Out programs, which offer subsidies for lead remediation, we have it right here at home over to, you can go to Berkshire Childcare, Childcare of the Berkshires rather. People we worked with over there who are very knowledgeable in this area can point you in the right direction. I don't know if that's the answer you're looking for, but in terms of the state stuff, there are many options, and a lot of it really is about people not knowing where to go. The state regularly, disperses tax credits for lead remediation, but you have to apply. You have to submit the paperwork, and it's a matter of access. These forms aren't available in every language, right? And don't often have access to those documents.
Thank you.
Councilor Blackmer.
When you talk about children, are you talking about all children, or are you talking about children under 6?
I'm talking about children broadly.
Okay.
The highest risk group for lead poisoning are children under 6, and that is what the state defines as being, those are the children at risk. And so if a child lives in a home, whether it's owner occupied or not, that home has to be lead safe, under 6. But this affects all children. Adults can get lead poisoning.
So I have a follow-up. One of the things if you have like a like you get a loan through housing rehab and you want it for your roof or your siding or insulation, the first thing you have to do is de-lead.
Yeah.
Before you can do anything else. So I remember my parents, they got $30,000. Well, half of it was to de-lead. There's very specific, is it this big or that big? And I know, some of this is building code, and I'm wondering if you do a certain amount of construction in your house that you're funding yourself, where that triggers a lot of things, is it also triggering that you have to de-lead? And that's probably a question for the building inspector, but that would be an interesting case or a way to have this conversation. And also, we have how many children under 6 have living in the community. That's part of the reason some of our rates per thousand look high, because if we're looking at under 6, we probably don't have 1,000 children under 6. So I think this is an issue. It's good to be aware. It's kind of good to have a reminder, because when I moved in my house, I had a 7 and 9-year-old, so I didn't even think about it. I learned about this when I worked in a bank, because you take out a mortgage, you have to sign off that you either have no one, if there's no lead paint abatement or any history of anything, you have to sign off that there's nobody under 6 living there. So I think it's a good reminder, because I think we forget about it.
Okay, I have a quick thing. What concerns me is the low level of testing. We only have a 65% testing rate. That concerns me, because how would that affect our numbers? It would be if we had more like 90 or 95% testing, we would have a more accurate number. At 65%, I'm concerned on how accurate those numbers are. They could be higher, they could be lower. Considering that we have some very old buildings in our city and there is a lot of lead still in existence, that does concern me. I remember when my parents had a house on Houghton Street, they were getting ready to sell the house. We had the then building inspector come in and had a special machine that went up to the walls and did lead testing. And this was as early, I would say, probably 1973, 74. So I know the city of North Adams has been testing for a long time. And I realize that paint wasn't federally, lead paint wasn't federally removed until 1978. So, and one other comment I have is that I think one way to get the word out would be to work with an organization like the Northern Berkshire Community Coalition. And of course, our public education system, our schools, would be the best way to get that out, to make parents aware.
I agree.
Thank you. Any further questions? Councilor Fitch?
Just a comment. Daniel, you're a pro. Thank you so much. I really
Thank
hope you
you.
stick around town and continue this work.
I'm trying.
Okay, any further questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, councilors.
Great
Mayor.
job, Daniel. Okay. I don't need to put that in. Easier to shave. All right, thank you. Excellent job. Excellent.
Okay, moving on.
We should get you to talk to him.
Committee reports and minutes. Do we have any committee reports? Seeing none. We have no licenses. At this time, I'm going to open forum. This is the opportunity for the public to speak to the council for 2 minutes on issues of municipal significance. I'm going to ask you to raise your hand. I'll ask you to step up to the mic, name and address for the record. Yes, sir. Please step up to the mic, name and address for the record.
Glad to be here tonight. I'm Stuart Burns. I live at 48 Holbrook Street. I've lived there for about 25 years, and I grew up in this northern Berkshire area. I want to try to plant a seed or a seedling. If North Adams really cared about our kids, there would be a downtown playground for them, not just tucked away down on Curran Highway or Camp Avenue or other places that are not within walking distance. We have an acre or more of land directly below the Cosgrove Middle School that would be ideal for a playground and park for Cosgrove kids and all others. That ugly, empty lot has been sitting there for over a year, wasting away with no interested buyer. A Starbucks would not have been a good idea anyway, because it would have threatened neighboring eateries. Over a decade ago, when I directed the Center for Community Engagement at Williams College, one of our priority projects was to help create a youth center in North Adams. Our effort did not succeed right away, but before long, the teen center was established. I'd like to propose to the City Council and the Mayor that we, as citizens of North Adams, make a commitment to turn that barren acreage into a full-fledged playground and ball field. We could entice high school and college students from MCLA and Williams to act as volunteer coaches and mentors. I hope some will join me in perhaps forming a committee to move this possibility forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. Yes, sir. Please step up to the mic, name and address for the record.
Richard David Green, 546 Union Street, Apartment 20B, North Adams, 012647. Okay, and please tell me when I'm within 30 seconds of the end
I'll
here.
let you know, yes. Yeah.
Okay. whenever I come to one of these meetings, I feel that I'm in the presence of something like 1930s Moscow, where everybody is trying to live up to the ideal of an iron filing clerk. Well, I'm pretty much the opposite of that. That scene would have put me in prison and death very fast with anarchist tendencies. Anyway, right now, we've got a problem in our civilization of ignoring probably 90% of the things we shouldn't be ignoring. And, well, I think we need a revolution in firefighting. Forget the working class. We need the aircraft class. The world is being struck with war-size fires. We need war-size aerial firefighting. I can't imagine how we're going to get that with the present economic system, but it's what we need. We also need a civilization that has ombudsmen all over the place, because our lives are too damn complicated to deal with at meetings like this all the time. And you can't just call 911 for the cops or the fire department.
And that's your 30 seconds.
Thank you.
Continue, please.
We also need ranked choice voting so that oddball ideas like mine can get into the elections. And we need probably age limits. I put an age limit on myself after signing on momentarily to run for mayor. No, at 80, I can't handle that anymore. So, thank you. That's it.
Thank you.
Except, I have a checklist for people who are interested in things that need to be done around this town. Anybody who wants a copy will be welcome. You got it?
Anybody else wish to speak on open forum? Okay, seeing no hands, I'm moving forward. Mayor, would you like to present your updates for tonight?
Sure, just a couple of quick updates. As most of you have seen, the Brown Street Bridge work continues. We are picking up speed, so hopefully Thanksgiving, early December. We did get the plates. I think at the last meeting I spoke about how we had to get bigger plates because there was more corrosion there. But those are getting installed and we are moving quite quickly there, so fingers crossed. Also, you will notice just past KM Motors, the Mass DOT is doing a shoulder repair of that, I call it a railroad bridge, just past KM Motors. So you will see some slowdowns in traffic there. Their schedule is a bit sporadic, but we hope to have a firmer construction schedule there. But they are doing some shoulder repairs as you go up over the Veterans Memorial Bridge on the right to West Main Street. And I also want to thank everyone who attended the haunted house and trick or treat. A big thank you to the coalition and all of the vendors that worked inside the Mohawk to make it a success. We stopped counting at 1,200. It was a great, great night despite the weather, and I think it was a fun night for the community. So we look forward to possibly doing it one more year. So thank you.
Thank you. Hey, liaison updates, counselor updates. Counselor Shade.
Yes, I just want to remind everybody that it is voting season. Please vote. We have 1 week until the election. You can come in and vote early still. There are many hours. Please visit the clerk's office and vote, or show up next Tuesday to the voting location and cast your vote. It's very important that you take part in this process. We have people running for mayor, city council, and our school boards, and we need to hear from you. So please show up and vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Counselor Fitch?
Yes, a couple of items. The first one, I know there were a lot of people in the room tonight who were interested in hearing about the water presentation, and I know a lot of those people also care a lot about trees. So I had a conversation with the chair of the Tree Commission in North Adams, and this is Stephen Betty, by the way. He said that he wants more fresh blood, he called it, fresh faces, I think is what he meant, on the tree commission. So perhaps consider joining. He was saying that, in the past, they have done a lot of tree planting, and that it's really hard and taxing on the individuals because they are the ones who essentially plant the trees themselves. And so he really is looking for fresh membership, and he said this next year, he's hopeful that they will be able to plant more trees. He's also chatting with, I believe it was Berkshire Regional Planning Commission, because they have instituted a program called Gray to Green in Pittsfield, and that is something that I believe is being considered to be in North Adams this next year. Well, good. I'm not supposed to go back and forth, I'm sorry. But anyway, so reach out to the chair of the Tree Commission or reach out to Mayor Maxey for appointments to the Tree Commission. And then another thing, SNAP, or the reduction of SNAP benefits, or the removal of SNAP benefits, it's in a lot of our heads. And so I wanted to comment on that quickly. For one, from my perspective, we can all probably do something in reaching out to our federal delegation. Granted, our federal delegation in Massachusetts is already, I believe, on the side of preserving those benefits, but I think it would still be beneficial to reach out to them, asking for the maintenance of those benefits from the federal administration. And in the meantime, in North Adams, I had a conversation as well with Matt Alkenbright, who heads up Berkshire Food Project. Thank you very much. Oh yeah, here it is, yeah. He said that they are open Monday to Friday, 10:30 to 1, serving hot meals to the community through the First Congregational Church that's up on Main Street. He said in September to October, they have seen a 40% increase in need. So they are definitely asking for donations, for contributions, for volunteers. And he said that you can check out their website and check out their social media for more information about how to do so, because resources like theirs may become increasingly strained in the next month if we do lose these benefits. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else on councilor concerns? Councilor Wilkinson.
Well, since we're talking about voting, not a concern, but just a comment. You don't have to vote for 9 people. There's 9 spots here on council. However, if you have a candidate, you really, I can say this because I'm not running, if you have a candidate that you really like and would really like them to either come back to council or be new to council, just vote for them. It's called the bullet vote. And it reduces the chances of all the other candidates if you're just voting for the people you want. Because if you just vote 9, you're murking up the system, and it's really, I've done this a couple times before, and I've never commented on this. A candidate loves the bullet vote. It's their cup of tea. Thank you.
Councilor Blackburn?
I want to add to Councilor Fitch's comments about the Berkshire Food Project and the issue with SNAP that people are anticipating. There's been some guidelines posted, and I don't have them, on helping people, like make sure you leave $1 on your EBT, because then you can access the HIP program. You don't have to spend all your money. They're not going to take what they've already given you. But also, we have the Berkshire Food Project. We also have the Friendship Center, the Al Nelson Friendship Center, and any other nonprofit that you think is helping families and children in other ways. So if an organization is helping with clothing, maybe that frees up a little more money for food. And again, if you can donate your time, treasure, and talent, please do.
Councilor Shade?
Yes, to reiterate that, one of the things I recently saw going around on social media was a question about whether the SNAP cut funding would affect free lunches in school. The answer is no. Free meals in school are paid for through the state budget. SNAP has nothing to do with that. So children going to school are still going to have access to at least 2 meals a day, breakfast and lunch, for free every day they're in school. And I believe there are even other programs that provide meals in the evenings at certain places. So please look into that. But school lunches are not affected. School meals are not affected. Your children should be able to get a nice meal at school. Thank you.
Thank you. And one thing I just want to add, I believe the First Baptist Church on Eagle Street also has a small food pantry for those that are in need. Yeah, Councilor Blackburn.
And I also want to follow up, yet another reason to make sure your kids are in school.
Thank you. Any further counselor updates? Okay. I'm going to turn it over to the city clerk. Clerk Leonazio, do you have any updates for us?
Well, I am very impressed that we have gone over 800. We are at 62.73% return on our mail-out ballots, which is really good. We have had 130 so far come in to do in-person voting. And it is a very good turnout for mail and in-person voting, because as a sample, our last municipal election, we had a total of 78, and that was for in-person and mailing. It was not a huge request, and it really has been. We had the finalized ones today. Everything that came in today went out today. So today was the last day to apply for mail ballots. However, we're still doing in-person voting up until Friday. And that'll be, we're here doing the voting 8:30 to 4:30 every day.
Okay, thank you. Any correspondence? All right. Okay, at this time, we are going to enter into executive session, and our executive session is to approve the executive session minutes of September 23rd, 2025. At this point, I will ask for a roll call vote to
Enter.
enter the executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Okay, Counselor
Going
Shade.
backwards. All right. Blackmer,
Yes.
Bona,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Fitch.
Yes.
Alaskowitz.
Yes. Yes.
Shade,
Yes.
Wilkinson,
Yes.
Sapienza.
Yes. Okay, motion approved. I am going to ask the public to